HOA Karen slashed my son's bike, tires caught on camera and removed from HOA. The moment I saw the deflated tires on my son's bright red bike, my stomach dropped like I'd been punched. 8-year-old Timmy had saved every penny from his lemonade stand to buy that bike. His pride and joy, now lying in the driveway like a wounded animal. Worse, the clean, deliberate slashes in the rubber screamed sabotage, not some random puncture. We'd moved to Maple Grove 6 months ago, hoping for a quiet suburban life. The neighborhood was pristine manicured lawns, friendly waves, and an HOA that kept everything picture perfect. But Karen, the HOA president, was the self-appointed queen of this cul-de-sac, 50-something, with a perm that screamed 1980s and a smile that never reached her eyes. She patrolled the streets like a hawk, clipboard in hand, ready to slap fines on anyone who dared park an inch over their driveway line. I'd heard whispers about her, how she'd once find a family for a non-compliant mailbox color, but I figured staying under her radar would keep us safe. I was wrong. It started with small things. Karen knocked on our door the first week, politely informing me that Timmy's bike, parked neatly by our garage, was an eyesore and needed to be stored out of sight. I complied, not wanting trouble. Then came the notes, passive-aggressive letters about our grass being a quarter-inch too long or our trash cans lingering curbside past 7 p.m. Each time, I bit my tongue, teaching Timmy to do the same when Karen scolded him for riding his bike too fast on the sidewalk. She's just strict, I'd tell him, though her glares made my skin crawl. But the bike incident, that was personal. Timmy came running inside that morning, tears streaming down his face, pointing at his ruined tires. "Mom, someone cut my bike," he sobbed. My heart broke, seeing his small hands trembling as he touched the shredded rubber. I checked the security camera we'd installed after Karen's last visit. The footage was crystal clear. 2 a.m. Karen, in her floral nightgown, sneaking into our driveway with a kitchen knife. She glanced around, then knelt by the bike, slashing each tire with surgical precision before slinking back to her house across the street. My blood boiled. This wasn't about rules, this was malice. I wasn't the only one fed up. At the next HOA meeting, I decided to act. The community center was packed, neighbors fidgeting in folding chairs as Karen droned on about pet leash lengths. I stood up, heart pounding, and held my phone high. "Before we move on, I have something to share," I said, voice steady despite the nerves. I played the footage on the projector. Gasps filled the room as Karen's face appeared, knife in hand, destroying Timmy's bike. Her smug expression in the video mirrored the one she wore now, though it was starting to crack. "That's not me," Karen blurted, her voice shrill. "This is a setup," but the room wasn't buying it. Mr. Thompson, a retired cop who lived next door, leaned forward. "Karen, that's your nightgown, and your car in the background." Murmurs grew louder. Karen's eyes darted to the exit, but there was no escape from the truth. Then came the twist I didn't see coming. Mrs. Delgado, a quiet widow who rarely spoke at meetings, stood up, her hands shaking. "She did the same to my garden," she said, voice breaking. "Last month, my roses, my late husband's roses, were hacked to pieces. I thought it was vandals, but I found this in my yard." She held up a pearl earring, identical to the ones Karen always wore. The room erupted in whispers. Karen's face went pale. "You're all ganging up on me," she screeched, but the evidence was stacking up. The tension exploded at the next meeting, called specifically to address Karen's actions. I'd shared the video with the HOA board beforehand, and they dug deeper. Turns out, Karen had been skimming HOA funds for years, using them for personal expenses like her landscaping consultations that never materialized. The slashed tires, the ruined roses, it was all part of her power trip, punishing anyone who dared question her authority. Neighbors stood one by one, sharing stories, fines for non-existent violations, threats to foreclose on homes, even intimidating kids like Timmy. The room buzzed with anger, A collective realization that we'd all been under her thumb. Karen tried to defend herself, slamming her fist on the table. "I've kept this neighborhood perfect," she shouted. "You're all ungrateful," but the board president, a no-nonsense lawyer named Sarah, cut her off. "Karen, you've abused your position and vandalized property. We have proof, and we're voting on your removal tonight." The vote was unanimous. Karen was out. Cheers erupted, but I felt a pang of sadness. Not for her, but for the community she'd fractured. The aftermath was swift. Karen's house went up for sale within weeks. Rumors swirled she'd moved to a condo downtown, far from any HOA. Timmy got a new bike, paid for by a neighborhood fundraiser organized by Mrs. Delgado, who'd become our unexpected hero. The HOA rewrote its bylaws, limiting the president's power and requiring transparency. I watched Timmy ride his bike again, his laughter echoing down the street, and felt a weight lift. Justice wasn't just about punishment, it was about healing. But the story doesn't end there. Karen's actions left scars, and not everyone agreed on how harsh her punishment should be. Some neighbors thought she deserved worse legal charges. Maybe. Others felt sorry for her, saying she was just a lonely woman who let power go to her head. I'm torn. Timmy's smile is back, but I can't forget the fear in his eyes when he saw his ruined bike. What do you think, was Karen's removal enough, or should she have faced more consequences? Share your thoughts, I'm curious to hear.